Welcome to Breakfast with Bob from Triathlon Business International. My name is Bob Babbitt, and we are up on raceplace.com, endurancesportswire.com, and babbittville.com. Our next guest from the Challenge family, Felix Walchsho fer.
Hi, Bob. Good morning.
I got that.
You got that.
Felix is one of my favorite people on the planet because he grew up in triathlon. And talk a little bit about you. You were a balloon guy. Right? When you were a little guy, I've seen photos.
That's true, yeah.
At Roth, running in with the balloons, just like the kids nowadays.
It's. I started with 4 years. That was the first time we had a triathlon in Roth.
Yes.
I had a T-shirt size small, and it went below my knees. And I was handing out sponges and drinks. So that's how triathlon started for me.
Yes.
And then I grew older, and that was my most favorite part, yes, when I was running behind Jürgen Seck, Lothar Leder, when he got the first time under 8 hours.
7:50, I was there.
Absolutely, and to be a balloon kid, and one of the best experiences in my life was last year when I did Roth myself.
First time.
And then Lothar Leder and Jürgen Seck and Belinda Granger surprised me and ran behind me with the balloons. It was amazing.
Isn't that how cool
really
is that? Full circle.
Absolutely.
Everybody full circle.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, with Challenge Roth, I mean, going back a little more, were you a triathlete yourself? I mean, was that your sport growing up because of your involvement with your dad's event?
Well, I was always involved with triathlon, because it has been a part of my life due to the family. But I actually didn't start with triathlon. I started with horse riding and tennis.
Yes.
Went to athletics until it got a bit boring, and then finally I went to triathlon. So I was 13 when I started with triathlon.
Okay.
And that has been my sport ever since.
And you raced triathlon, a lot of triathlons?
Yeah, mainly on the Olympic distance.
Yes.
When I was younger, then when I had my military service,
yes,
and university, it came down to training only, but no racing. And then after I started working with Challenge, for Challenge, I did twice the Wanaka race, Challenge Wanaka, New Zealand, and one time the race in Roth and some relays.
For people who have not been to Roth, who don't know, I mean, in my mind, #1 race in the world is Ironman World Championship, and #2 is Challenge Roth. I mean, those are two iconic events. You're talking 4,000 individuals, 1,500 people in relay teams. Talk a little bit about, 50, 60,000 people on Solar Hill. It's just every aspect of it is special. The swim with the hot air balloons, in the classical music, the bike ride with Solar Hill, you're going up twice, the run with the beer mile. Every aspect, I always look at events and look for classic parts of each event. You know, if you look at Kona with the swim and and the ride and the lava fields, but every aspect of yours is special. And how long did it take you to realize that race is iconic, that it's something that means more than other races?
Well, I think we knew it from the beginning. And why did we knew it? Because I know, and we know, our population. They just love triathletes, and they would do anything for the race.
Right.
With more than 1,000 athletes in homestay families, free of charge.
Yes.
The population loves to welcome international triathletes. And it has grown to an extent where nowadays it's the biggest one-day event of the state of Bavaria, more than the football things happening or the
Formula One.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And I mean, that says a lot about the acceptance of the sport of triathlon in Bavaria. And we have 250,000 spectators. You said we have about 4,000 athletes just in the challenge, plus the relays, and then all the side events, which makes it about 12,000 finishers on the whole weekend. We have a rock concert with 10,000 people attending, and we have 5,700 volunteers from the region who are the heart and soul of the event. And so we really knew it from the beginning, just because the population is so much behind it. But of course it takes time, and when we started with Challenge, there wasn't any money for marketing or anything, so we relied on word of mouth, and until this day that's our best marketing, because people who have been there and telling that story, that's
the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When I look at, because I've been involved with rock and roll and been involved with Ironman, the events, success in endurance sports comes from heads in beds, right? It's people coming to Kona and staying in hotels. It's people coming to San Diego for rock and roll and staying in hotels. And the cities pay for these events because they fill up hotels. What do you have, 23 hotel rooms in all of Roth?
It's 23 hotel rooms, that's correct. And we don't receive a single cent from the city or the county or the state.
So you don't get compensated from
No.
a visitor bureau or anything like
No.
that? Wow.
We don't, but we get a lot of moral support from
Right.
our politicians. We get support in free road closures, which is
That's
fantastic
huge.
as well. You know,
That's
it's
huge.
as
That's like
well.
getting money, absolutely.
Exactly. So I think by never asking money, it brought us to a level with our politicians and with our communities that the community said, well, that's really our thing as well, and
Right.
and we share
They're
the
partners.
same.
They
Absolutely.
become partners.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, you don't
Yeah.
get dollars, but you get in-kind services.
Absolutely, and we have a huge problem on hotels or anything. This is why we have the homestay program.
Sure.
So most of our international athletes, if they send us an email saying, hey, where can I find accommodation, we'll just get them in contact with a homestay family,
Right.
and they can move in with their whole family, you know. Or we have a huge campground where it's
Right.
like a Woodstock feeling,
is.
you know.
It
It's
really is.
quite
I've
unique.
I've seen that.
Amazing. And then we have, or we're filling the hotels until the metropolitan region of
Yes.
Nuremberg, which is 20k north,
Yeah.
or the city of Ingolstadt, which is about 30k south. So it takes a lot of beds and a lot of different options like
Sure.
camping and everything to accommodate everyone.
The other side is we usually get to Roth on Wednesday of race week, and there's a piece of grass right across from the homestay we're at. That's a piece of grass. And on Wednesday, they start building a stadium. I mean, a stadium. It's not like, okay, we're building a finished structure. You build a stadium for how many people?
We're building a stadium for 15,000 people, and it costs nearly $100,000 to build the finished stadium
Yes.
with everything, the jumbo screens and
Yes.
everything. Yeah.
And it takes basically up to a week to build this thing and then take it
Absolutely.
down.
And then we use it for one day, and then it's been
Take it
taken
down.
down. But I mean, for a triathlon, and if we would only be there to save money, then we would say, okay, skip the stadium.
Right.
Let's just do a single finish shoot, a little bit of grandstands left, a little bit of grandstands right. But that's not what we want. We want that each and every athlete, it doesn't matter if it's a Timo Bracht winning,
Right.
or a Miranda Carefree winning, or Chrissy Wellington
Right.
winning, or if it's Mr. and Mrs. Smith, who are out there for 16 hours
Yeah.
and come in last and have this very same reception of thousands of people.
Yes.
And the people who get in last actually get the biggest show.
Of course they do.
So it's amazing.
And then a fireworks show
Absolutely.
afterwards. So talk a bit about going from one event in your hometown, right, to expanding the challenge brand around the globe and the challenges that have come along with that.
Yeah. Well, when we started, we were the only event outside the Ironman circuit, and we have been Ironman Europe for 14 years
I
until
know.
we decided to step out and
Okay.
go on our own. And
So that was your decision.
that was our decision.
Okay,
yeah,
when
yeah.
they didn't come and say we're going to go to Frankfurt.
No, we said what you demand from us is bad for our athletes, bad for our communities.
What were they
and therefore
demanding?
They were demanding a one loop bike course, which would have destroyed Solar Hill
Oh.
with 50,000 people. They demanded a mass start in the channel. The channel is 10 meters wide. We would have have had dead people. So there were so many stupid events where we really thought, okay, Ironman has absolutely no clue about the quality of our event, about what this event is really all
Sure.
about, that we are way better off to go independent. And
Right.
we know, and we knew it was hard and everything, but we were able to regroup ourselves to think about, okay, what does the athlete really want, you know? We expanded from one day of triathlon to a full festival week with
Oh, I
all
know.
those different...
Women's run, nighttime run, kids run, everything.
Exactly. And introduction of the relay teams as well, you know?
Relay teams,
Which
from
was
my
amazing.
perspective, it brings new people in.
Yes, we have celebrities, we have soccer stars.
Right.
Everyone comes in the relay teams. You know, we have athletes who, because of work commitments or getting a baby, they can't train for a
Right.
long distance, but they could do the swim, bike, or the run. And so we introduced all of that.
Love that. Well, it was interesting
Yeah.
because Rainer, who plays accordion
Yes.
with us, did the swim this year. Lost
Absolutely.
20 pounds and did the
Yeah,
swim.
yeah, absolutely.
And now, from your perspective, this person feels a part of the challenge
Absolutely.
family. If he was just a
Absolutely.
spectator, he wouldn't be part of it. And who knows if that
Yeah.
person next year
Yeah,
decides to do the whole thing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the relays. I'm a huge fan. I think it brings brand new people in. At one point, I was pitching Ironman back in the day. It was going to be Rudy swimming,
Yeah.
Robin Williams riding, and
Yeah.
Scott Tinley running.
Yeah.
What do you think that would have done?
That's true. Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Pretty
Yeah.
good, yeah. But yes, the relays.
So that was the beginning.
Yes.
And with kind of tough times because Ironman tried to destroy us all the time, putting on the Ironman Frankfurt race date on our
the same
date.
day, right?
Yeah, yeah. Did it several times until they learned they are losing out of it. But it was a very challenging time that I think was really healthy for us because we had to concentrate on our strength.
You couldn't think about
Exactly.
these people. We're not competing with anybody but ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We concentrated on quality. We wanted to be the quality leader.
Yes.
We concentrated on a very, very competitive price ratio
Sure.
within the entry fees. We concentrated on the pros, on price purses for the pros, on appearance fees for the pros, and that made us stronger. You
Right.
know? And then by 2004 already, we were the biggest race in the world, and the race was sold out. So from there on, we had to take the decision, what's next? If we just keep on where we are, we'll lose in the long run, you know, because there is no stopping. And so there were two different things we could have done. Either we tried to squeeze in more people, which directly would go on the quality.
Exactly.
Absolutely, which we didn't. Or to try and get out there in the world and try to implement our concept in communities that are similar to ours. And that's what we did. And that was actually the beginning of Challenge Family and going global.
So going global is one thing. Coming to the U.S., very difficult, right? You've got if someone is doing a triathlon and their bucket list is to do a triathlon, they know the MDOT, they know the Ironman. I'm going to do that. The challenge name is not that known here. I mean, for hardcore, for triathletes who follow things online, they know Challenge Roth, and I think more so in the last couple of years. How difficult was it to decide on where you're going to do your first race in Challenge Atlantic City, and to try to promote the Challenge brand around that in this huge market that's the U.S.?
Yeah. Well, U.S. is very unique, you know, and MDOT is very, very strong here. But I think we just need to do, again, what we did at the beginning. We need to prove ourselves. We need to be a quality leader in the U.S. and to have the athletes go out there and tell that story, you know.
Right.
And so many athletes came to us after racing their first challenge race and said, well, that was a completely different kind of story, you know, from the swag bag to the pasta party to medals to how you took care for us.
Right.
That was a total different experience to Ironman. And it will take time, but we are not there for quick return on investments or anything. We are a family business.
Right.
Challenge is owned by my family, and we are always there for the long term.
No private equity.
No private equity. Absolutely not.
That makes it very difficult. But at the same time,
but it's a long-lasting.
Yes, private equity is not usually a long-lasting process.
No, absolutely.
It's like
and
3 to 5 years.
We see it in the US with all the Ironmans who lost the prize purses. You know, pros will not turn up anymore. I mean, is that really what the sport is all about? No, it's not. Because the sport is about you and me standing next to the heroes of our sport on that very same start line and being in that very same race, you know. And if you take the pros out, I think it's not good for the sport.
Speaking of good for the sport, a sport with one brand is not a sport, right? The Ironman brand, you've got the ITU brand, there's brands. The Challenge brand Challenge brand has been around. It's stood the test of time. Would you rather have a relationship with Ironman where you guys could work together and say, okay, we're going to do a ranking system based on the two most important races in the world, Challenge Roth and Ironman World Championships, and then we're going to determine who our triathlete of the year, our long-distance triathlete of the year, based on the races that have the best pro fields with the biggest prize purse? Is that something that you would prefer?
Bob, absolutely. That would be, in a perfect world, the best thing if everyone in our community works together. Ironman, the federations, us, all the independent race directors out there. That would be the best thing to grow the sport. I've had a meeting with Ironman CEO for Europe,
Yes.
and I even after they have very aggressively been to us, they bought licensees and did a lot of things to harm us and also to harm the sport. But we met, and I said, come on, let's sit together, let's stop that, because it's not good for the sport. Let's work together. And then he said, if that means we have to stop to buy your licensees and go against you, then we won't do it. So that was the answer of Ironman, which is sad, because at the end of the day, the more people pulling on the same string, the better it is for the sport, and the faster the sport is going to grow.
What do you see now? You're in Penticton, Canada. You're in Atlantic City, and you're in Rancho Cordova, and you bought the Rev 3 series. Now, that purchase, or working together with that series to become challenge events, how important has that been to accelerate the growth of the challenge brand in the U.S.?
Well, first of all, we didn't buy Rev 3. We
Okay,
sat
the
down with Charlie, and we merged Challenge and Rev 3 because we need Charlie, we need his team. They have done a wonderful job.
They really have great events.
They have the athlete in the center of attention, as we have. And this was why we were very, very happy when Charlie approached us. And it was a good way to join forces. And it was very important for us in the US. And I think with the team of Charlie, with our existing partners, we can tell our story. We can get challenge out there. And we can deliver services to the athletes.
So we talked a little bit earlier about television and how important television is, and not just from the perspective of showing the pros, but the human interest stories, Madonna Buder, Rudy Garcia-Tolson, that type of thing. The NBC show in the U.S. for Ironman, I think, has been the PR tool for the sport. It's grown the sport. The number of people who I talk to, and I say, when did you get in the sport? Oh, I watched Julie Moss and Kathleen McCartney. I watched Dick and Rick Hoyt. I saw Madonna Buder. I saw Rudy finish. I saw Sarah Reinertsen. How important is it for Challenge to have that type of television connection in the U.S. to be able to tell the same type of stories, but through a challenge lens?
Extremely important. We always started with that. We're investing a lot of money. Challenge Atlantic City had a wonderful broadcast. Challenge Bahrain had, Challenge Roth had. We're doing the same now for Challenge Dubai, Challenge Oman. So we need that, and we are willing to invest a lot of money into that.
When I look at the Challenge Bahrain, which was phenomenal event, and I talked to a lot of the pros, and the pros were like, well, this is the way we need to be treated everywhere. And I was like, yeah, it's not quite reality. It's not quite reality, because at the end of the day, a race director still needs to make money off his race. And, you know, spending $4.8 million on a transition area doesn't usually help you make a lot of money on your race. But that race is all about creating positive feelings about Bahrain. It's all about getting people who are in the area into the sport and creating a different mentality about fitness in that part of the world, which they have problem with childhood obesity, the diabetes, that's huge. Exactly. Talk a little bit about going to that part of the world and what that means to the Challenge brand.
Well, it gave us a lot of possibilities. Prize purse, $500,000 US dollar tax-free, because there are no taxes there.
Wow.
The Triple Crown that has now been announced between Bahrain, Oman, and Dubai, with $1 million.
So wait, so somebody, the person who does the best in all three races will get $1 million.
Exactly.
And man and woman.
Man and woman.
Oh my God.
And I think those are great possibilities for our sport as well, for the pros, but also for the age group athletes traveling there. I think what was really, really good in Bahrain to see that 200 Bahrainis, locals, participated. Out of those 200, it was 100 women. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
In a country where women usually aren't doing anything.
Yeah, and you said it. It's one of the primary targets of His Highness to get people into the sport, to have them healthy, to have them active, to fight against obesity and diabetes.
Yes.
Those are the most important reasons for His Highness to support that. And only then comes tourism and the good side effects for Bahrain, international exposure. But for him, the most important thing is health for his own population.
Yes. For me, when I see Challenge come to the U.S., I think the tough part of not being private equity is not being able to do the type of promotion for the Challenge brand outside of just triathlon, right? Like when you came to Atlantic City, my thought was, okay, there'll be an agency and a big ad agency, a promotional PR agency, and there'll be a big push around the Challenge brand so people know what it is. I'm sure that's financial. It's hard to do, but is that something down the line? Because I think there still is a lack of awareness of the Challenge brand among your casual athletes.
That is the primary target this season in the US, to educate people about what is Challenge, who are we,
yes.
who is behind the brand, And yeah, if we would have a private equity behind us, it would be easier, but it would be also only short-term thinking, as it is with Ironman. For us, it's always long-term thinking. We need grassroots campaigns. We need to go and see and talk to the athletes. Like yesterday when I talked to the guys at LA Tri Club. Absolutely, that's awesome, because it also gives us a lot of input,
Yes.
Gives us around the world. It doesn't matter if you go to LA Tri Club, if you go and see the guys in Sydney or in Taiwan, Phuket, or in Germany, in Europe. You get so much input from the local communities. You learn so much, and that's really important, because with our business model, we have partners on the ground in the community.
Right.
We need to work with the community. We want to work with the community. We want to work long-lasting with the community, and of course with the athletes in those communities. And so it gives us a lot of chances to learn and to experience and to take on their tips as well in how to develop for us.
So what have you learned when you come and talk to a group from LA or a group from Sydney? Something that surprised you in terms of something they didn't know about your event, or something that they did know about your event?
Well, what surprised me the most was when I first came to Challenge Taiwan, in Taidong, and I learned that people heard about this event and said, okay, I'll be getting in. I'm not a swimmer, and I have 6 months. And I'm like, oh my God, hundreds of them.
Yes.
And so there we had to adjust our rules on the swim. So because it was a non-wetsuit swim, the water was too warm. So everyone who wanted to swim with a wetsuit, because they felt absolutely, they could do so, but they weren't in the official results.
Which is fine. They could care less. They just want to be. They want to be part of it.
So that was an interesting education process. That people weren't really secure in swimming at all.
Right.
And so it's very different from country to country, from continent to continent. It's a very, very different thing,
Sure, when you're in Australia, everybody swims. That's not a problem. But you go to different parts of the world. The biggest deterrent to people doing triathlon, in my opinion, is if I'm running in a race and I get tired, I can stop. If I'm cycling and I get tired, I can stop. If I swim, I get tired, I die. That's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people look at the swim as a challenge, and I know that you guys are doing what you do in Roth in terms of teaching kids how to swim and supporting those programs. Is that something you're going to be trying to do here in the U.S. and other parts of the world?
Absolutely. And of course, we need to watch at every venue individually. What is needed in that venue? What can we do here or there? Because the swim venues are different, and there are a lot of different things. So we have a very individual approach to every single venue that we are operating.
Felix, always a pleasure. Congratulations on everything you're doing. I love having the Challenge family attitude in the U.S. It's great to have your events.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
All right. Felix has been our guest again. This is a Breakfast with Bob. We're from Triathlon Business International. You can check us out on raceplace.com, Endurance Sportswire, and Babbittville.com. Hold on, everyone. We will be right back.